On day 4 of the XXXTentacion trial, we received massive updates regarding the truth behind his passing, as well as the possibility of Drake having major involvement in it. As it was reported by news outlets, and I quote, "According to reports, Drake has reportedly been ordered to sit for a deposition in the XXXTentacion trial on February 24th. If Drake fails to show up, he's ordered to appear before the courtroom on February 27th. Now imagine on February 27th, while the trial is going on, none other than Drake has to go sit on the stand and answer a bunch of questions. But as of right now, the XXXTentacion trial is split between two sides. X's lawyers know the 4 suspects Michael Boatwright, Dedrick Williams, Trayvon Newsom, and Robert Allen are guilty, yet the suspects' lawyers are trying to make the claim that Drake is responsible and not them, even though they were literally recorded in 4K doing this act towards X. Now the defense must be making a very good argument on Drake being involved, as the Toronto rapper is now scheduled for a deposition, as the defense attorney in the courtroom had this to say about Drake and even the Migos on the first day of trial.
Before X, he said, if anything, it's Drake. And do you think that for one moment, here today, days after the event, 2 masked men, right? He came on social media and said, guys, if anybody is Drake, do you think in that time span that they went and they addressed him, they talked to him? No. Do you think sitting here today, years later, any detective has ever asked, Drake or anybody like that? No, they never did that. So you ask yourself, how could that be? And you say, hey, it's so-and-so, you better believe so-and-so is gonna get investigated. But in this case, they didn't do it. They didn't do it because it didn't comport with their version and their narrative. And as law enforcement, I think that they have the obligation to do so.
Leave a like on the video if you're a fan of XXXTentacion. I'm curious how many fans are watching today. The defense attorney stated during that video, XXXTentacion said, if I ever were to pass, then Drake did it. Now this caused a lot of alarms during the trial, as well as the judge not knowing X actually said that. So the Instagram live of XXXTentacion saying Drake did it was shared in the courtroom, but also this Instagram story message, where X posted, if anyone tries to get me, it was at Champagne Poppy, aka Drake. I'm snitching right now. The Instagram post matters a lot more than the Instagram live, as the Instagram live could have been taken as some sort of entertainment piece for X to show his fans just to entertain them, but him writing it on an Instagram story made it official. The famous XXXTentacion and Drake beef started when X made a tweet stating, Drake's mom is kinda cute. Now X would later then be arrested, so he wasn't able to say more about the Toronto rapper. But while X was in jail, his hit song Look At Me went viral online in a massive way. I would still argue to this day, Look At Me went so viral in such a little amount of time, no other music artist has ever done anything like it. Now Drake noticed this. He then later released a song titled KMT, stealing the exact flow, speed, and even a similar beat of X's song. Once X was told the news, he was then later released from jail after beating his charges. The first thing X did was hop on an interview and he went straight after Drake, starting a massive beef online, calling out Drake, which in the end made XXXTentacion's career skyrocket even more. But all of the weird stuff happened after X sadly passed away. Now Drake released a song with these lyrics. Maybe I should do a 20, maybe I should break that 20, do a 10. Maybe I should break that 10, do a 5. Then if it gets live, do a 5 again. If he held his tongue on that live, he'd be alive again. Now this could obviously be directed at anyone, but let me break these lyrics down for you to paint a better picture. If you break a 20, you get 2 10s. Then if you give a 5, if it goes live, do a 5 again. 5 plus 5 being 10, leaving you with 3 sets of the number 10. Now 3 10s in Roman numerals is 3 X's. Then Drake says if he held his tongue on that live, he'd be alive again. On Instagram Live, XXXTentacion made statements about Drake and his mother, as well as several disses towards Drake in general. Now when you add all of those factors in, these lyrics need to be about XXXTentacion. There's just no other way to look at it. But also shared in the courtroom were answers answers to questions that we've been waiting for ever since June 18th, 2018, the day that he sadly passed. One of the 4 suspects, named Robert Allen, he continued his snitching in the courtroom today. He was snitching on these 3 suspects like he was reading a book. As of today, we learned exactly how the suspects split the 50 grand that was stolen from X and his Louis Vuitton bag. There's even some photos of them flexing the money, thinking they're cool. Now, Michael Boatwright, Dedrick Williams, and Trayvon Newsom, these 3 suspects, they were all given $15,000 each. Now, this means $45,000 of the $50,000 is gone, meaning that Robert Allen, he was only given $5 grand. Now, it's very interesting the man paid the least amount of money is now the one snitching in the end, as these photos were also shared in the courtroom today. It says, and I quote, "Pictures taken after XXXTentacion's passing. Same day shows defendant Michael Boatwright flashing a lot of cash. Defendant turned state. Witness testifies this is XXXTentacion's money, and these photos were taken hours after the incident." Revealing these few photos of these men flexing the few $1,000s they got from X that they just wasted their entire life for. Almost as if they didn't know you can get the same amount of money in a couple months working at McDonald's. Now, shortly after Robert Allen shared the money situation, he then shared what X's last words were. After the incident was done and the suspects hopped back into their vehicle, they actually discussed what X was saying during the incident. As shared by DJ Academics, XXXTentacion's last words were, "What is this for?" Now, this just makes the passing feel even more upsetting. X didn't even understand what was truly happening in that moment. It was all happening within seconds. With the XXXTentacion trial, it continued to reveal even more stuff, as there's even new surveillance footage of new camera angles at the bank and motorcycle shop. All of this information shared by Robert Allen goes as followed. On June 18th, X's day starts by him hopping into his all-black BMW i8 and heading over to Riva Motorsports. While at Riva, he finds a few motorcycles that he kinda likes and wants to take a better look at, but before getting a test drive, he has to show that he wants to actually buy one. Now, this makes XXXTentacion tell his mother that he's going to the bank to pick up $250,000 worth of cash. Before doing so, his mom actually makes his uncle go with him. His step-uncle is then picked up from X and they head over to the Bank of America. While at the bank, X attempts to withdraw $250,000, but he's only allowed to be given $50K, as this is new footage of X going to the Bank of America.
During your encounter with Mr. Onfroy during this time, what was his demeanor like? Fun. I can see that.
Now, this statement was released regarding the Bank of America today. Cecilia Ramos, the bank teller, was working at the Bank of America the day X sadly passed. You see him smile and talk with the teller. He came into the bank and wanted to withdraw 250 grand, but the bank did not keep that kind of cash on hand. She gave him 50 grand and ordered the rest for a later date. With X having the money, he stuffs it in his Louis V bag and begins walking to his vehicle. While X and his uncle are walking back to his BMW i8, the 4 suspects saw X driving his car and tailed it. Robert Allen confirmed in the courtroom that these 4 suspects, they were looking to get into an incident like this the entire day. They wanted to make some fast cash, so when they saw a BMW i8 on the road, that's why they tailed it. With XXXTentacion pulling back into the parking lot at Riva Motorsports, they sit and park before heading inside. The 4 men notice who it actually is, and they get excited allegedly in the vehicle. While X is walking into Riva Motorsports, 2 of the suspects then hop out of their vehicle as they need to keep an eye on what X is doing. They then walk into Riva Motorsports to keep an eye on him, while X is just minding his business and trying to buy a motorcycle. The 2 men that followed X into Riva Motorsports, they then end up buying a ski mask and gloves inside a Riva no further than 15 feet away from X. As one of the craziest parts of the situation, XXXTentacion makes eye contact with one of the suspects before they walk away. X walked around Riva for quite some time. He was just looking and he didn't end up buying anything. This is where X is then seen walking out of the motorcycle shop with his Louis V bag still around his chest, and he then hops back into his BMW. X then attempts to leave the Riva Motorsports parking lot, and while trying to drive out of the one-way, the two other men that are still in the vehicle then drive quickly and cut his vehicle off, making X in a standstill with this other car. Two men then hop out of the Jeep and they demand X to roll his windows down. An altercation then begun between X and these two individuals, and while this is going down, X's uncle actually opens up his butterfly door and sprints away, leaving X all by himself. The two men were demanding X's chain as well as the cash that he had, but X did not want to give up anything, which resulted in what we all know happened next. Now, this was day 4 of the XXXTentacion trial. Make sure you subscribe and I'll keep you updated with each day. It's been District Trending and I'm out. Peace.